Hello students, welcome to disaster mitigation and management class. Earlier we were discussing about the impact of disaster and disaster management, disaster preparedness. Under that we have studied about the risk reduction, response, recovery and mitigation. So right now we will be studying about the vulnerability and what is the interrelationship between disaster management and disaster development. Okay, I hope everyone has watched previous videos. So kindly do the assignment which has been discussed in the earlier videos. So right, in this video we will be discussing about the interrelationship between disaster and development. So factors affecting vulnerability. Factors affecting vulnerability means under that human factor, different people even with the same region have different vulnerability to natural hazards. So here you people can see the ring of fire here. This gray color is of gray or light maroon color you can see here. This looks like a horseshoe. That shows that in the Pacific Ocean where many earthquakes under the water and under this type of disasters which occur, most of the earthquakes and most of the disasters occur through the around this a ring of fire which looks like a horseshoe. So see here you can see ring of fire is a major area in the basin of Pacific Ocean where many earthquakes and volcanic eruptions occurs. Large 40,000 kilometers horseshoe shape that you can see that ring. About 90% of the world's earthquake and 80% of the world's largest earthquake occur along the ring of the fire. This is your one of the short answer. This is one of your short answers. So kindly note this slide. Next one, previously it was human. Next one is the wealth. Poor, less able to afford housing and other infrastructure can withstand extreme events. Less able to purchase resource need for disaster response. Less likely to have insurance policies that can contribute, less likely to have access to medical care. Exceptions. Some coastal areas contain expensive beachside real estates populated mainly by the rich, leaving the rich more vulnerable to tsunami, storms, surge and other coastal hazards. Means exceptions. Some of the coastal areas contain expensive beachside real estate populated mainly by the rich, leaving the rich more vulnerable to tsunami, storms, surges and other coastal areas. Means whenever we will go, the rich people can survive from the vulnerable situations, but the poor people cannot be survived. Rich tends to lose more money from the disaster simply because they have more valuable property at stake because of this type of vulnerable activities or hazards. At that moment, what happened? Whatever the properties they have, that they may lose in the disaster. Example: Hurricane Katrina, that is wealthier area, fewer deaths, higher monetary damage. Cyclone Nargis, poorer areas, more deaths, less monetary damage. Poor people does not have anything to lose except their lives. Rich people will be having a more to lose because they may have gained more in their life. So next one is the education. Under the education, with education we can learn how to avoid or reduce many impacts. When populations are literate, then written messages can be used to spread word about hazard in general or about specific disasters. Even without literacy, it is possible to educate the population about hazards in order to help it reduce its vulnerability. When population include professionals trained in hazards, then these people can help the population with their hazards preparation and response. Governance. Government can advance policies that reduce vulnerability, They can establish agencies tasked with reducing vulnerability such as NMDA. It is the one more the management under the government. On December, this is case study. On December 23, 2005, the Government of India enacted the Disaster Management Act, which envisated the creation of National Disaster Management Authority headed by the Prime Minister and the State Disaster Management Authorities headed by respective Chief Minister to spearhead and implement a holistic, this is the what you say, the forming of a NMDA, the forming of a National Disaster Management Authority. In previous lectures we have studied about this. So under this what happens, the Prime Minister, this will be headed by Prime Minister and State Disaster Management Authorities. So under the what is actually NDMA vision? To build a safer and disaster resilient India by holistic, proactive, technology driven and sustainable development strategies that involves all stakeholders and fosters a culture of prevention, preparedness and mitigation. So that they can support education and awareness efforts as well as economic development to reduce poverty. Finally, they can foster social networks and empower individuals and communities to help themselves to prepare for and respond to hazards. Without government, what actually, whenever without government means obviously NGOs will comes into the picture also. Communities can informally engage in many of these governance activities. Often the most vulnerable peoples are those who are politically marginalized because these people have less access to key resources and opportunities. Example, Myanmar government during Cyclone Nargis. This government is isolated from the international community and thus was not welcoming to international assistance in the aftermath of the cyclone. Haiti, after its 2010 earthquake, Haiti, like Myanmar, is a poor country, but it has a positive and close relationships with international communities and thus readily welcomed the international assistance in the aftermath of the earthquake. This assistance saved many lives and it is helping Haiti rebuild. So technology can improve our ability to forecast extreme events, withstand the impact of the events and recover afterwards. Technology is closely tied to wealth, education and governance. Wealthier, more educated society are more likely to have more advanced technology. A society governance system play a large role in how effectively the available technology is used in disaster situation. The technology will play a major role whenever the disaster occurs, and the communication also plays a major role because without a communication we can't spread the news, and one more thing, we can't get the help whenever we are taking the mitigation and response activities. Age. Children and the elderly tend to be more vulnerable. They have less physical strength to survive disaster and are often more susceptible to certain diseases. The elderly often also have declining vision and hearing. Children, especially young children, have less education. Finally, both children and the elderly have fewer financial resources and are frequently depend on others for survival. In order for them to survive a disaster, it is necessary for both of them, their caretakers, to stay alive and stay together. Example, 2003 European has got occur of heat waves. About 40,000 people died in one of the hottest summers ever in Europe. Many of the deaths were elderly people who were still capable of taking care of themselves. These people were not able to adapt to the extreme heat and had no one helping them out. Gender, women are often more vulnerable to natural hazards than men because women are more likely to be poor, less educated and politically marginalized. Women often face additional burdens as a caretaker of families. When disasters strike, women are often the one tasked with protecting children and elderly. This leaves them less mobilized and more likely to experience harm themselves. Impact of development projects. Dams are massive barriers built across rivers and streams. Yes, you people know, for reduction of this type of disasters, the dams, reservoirs means like floods, like stopping the floods occurring a major damage. Dams are the one of the barrier, right? Streams to confine and utilize the flow of water for human purpose such as irrigation and generation of hydroelectricity. This confinement of water creates lakes of reservoirs. Impacts of dams. Here you people can see here how the dam has been. Here you people can see reservoir where the water is getting stored and where is the downstream here. Rooting vegetation. So see here, what is actually downstream? First we will, what is actually block fish migration, disrupts water and sediment flow. Aging structures pose safety hazards. Then after, what is actually reservoirs? Displaced communities, floods and fragments, ecosystem, increases waterborne diseases, triggers earthquake. Downstream impact, disrupted water and sediment flow, reduces biodiversity. Communities suffer from poor water quality, lower crop production and decreased fish population. Decreased fish population. Next one, rotting vegetation releases greenhouse gases contributing to global warming, degrade water quality. Here you people can see the clear pictures. First one is the navigation. Here you can see the under the navigation how the picture will be, and one more is the hydro power plant where is actually a hydro generation will occur by using the water. And next one is the recreation. Here you can see the flow of water when the gates has been opened, and one more is the flood control. Whenever the heavy flow of the water comes, at that moment what happens, the storage of water will be, the water gets stuck at one place. Next one is the tourism at the dam and reservoir. Here you people can see the tourism, and one more is the water diversions due to the upstream and low stream. Right, structure of the dam. Here you can see the upstream means upward, means wherever the hilly areas, and downstream means wherever the slope areas are there. Here you can see the up one, that is called the parapet wall. In our house also you can see the parapet wall, wherein the above your slab maximum water level, this is your freeboard and this is your normal water level. You people can go whenever you visit to the dam. At that time you can see the HFL, MWL, this type of things. They will write what is actually maximum water level and what is the normal water level. This is called a spillway. These all you can understand in the whenever you deeply study about the civil. Next one, environmental impact of dams, terrestrial ecosystem and biodiversity, greenhouse gas emission, downstream aquatic ecosystems and biodiversity, the impact of changes in flow regmes, impact of trapping sediments and nutrients behind a dam, blocking migration of aquatic organisms. Here you can see the dam failure, the heavy pressure of the water. See here, they won't directly construct the dam like that only. They will construct the dam after studying and after getting a full knowledge of the water. Then only they will construct the dam, because compared to the all heavy pressures, the water pressure will be more due to the heavy flow of the water and the sudden force of the water that may damage the wall like this. Due to that, water starts flowing from that direction to this direction, that may leads to the flood. Okay, here you can see the dam failure. Dam failures, main causes of dam failures, that is, one is earthquake, one is extreme inflow, poor maintenance especially of outlet pipes, human computers or design errors, internal erosion or piping, especially in earthen dams, sliding of mountain into reservoirs, substandard construction materials or techniques, spillway design error, geological instability caused by changes to water levels during filling or poor survey. Embankment is a large artificial dam. It is typically created by a placement of compaction of soil, sand, clay or the rock. Embankment is nothing but what you will be means the support for the wall which you has created. I did not get the picture. In next slide I will show you the picture of the embankment, what is actually embankment, right? In artificial dam, that is the artificial dam where actually it is filled with the soil. Embankment, that is soil. I will show you the picture in the next class. Impact of breaching, interferes with the geomorphological process of the river, under that overtopping and meandering nature of the river, alignment of embankment, poor maintenance of the embankment and other anthropogenic activities. Quality of construction of such embankments is never uniformly good. Embankments themselves deteriorate with time due to erosion by rainfall. What is actually embankment is nothing but whenever the wall has constructed for supporting that, what we will be doing, we will be filling the earth machinery or concrete or this soil filling will be there. Soil filling, that in that also you will be again having the failures. That is a very broad one, even though I will show you the picture. Interference by humans, example, cutting embankments to allow for the passage of irrigation water in the dry season, burrowing of animals and roads or the other traffics along and across the structure. Huge flood water rushing through the agricultural field and settlements, and also has given rise to sand sand incursion over that fertile agricultural field, making them unproductive. The affected people compelled to migrate from one occupation to another. Land use. Major land use changes have occurred in the United States during the past 25 years. Total area of cropland, pasture land decreased by 76 million acres in 48 states from 1982 to 2003, while total area of development land increased by 36 million acres or a 48%. This is all the case studies and whichever the reports are there that has been listed out. In Indonesia, about 500 square kilometers of forest area are cleared each year, replaced with oil palm plantations. In many countries including India, cities are expanding well beyond their formal limits. Urbanization. Transforming land use from agriculture and forest into industry, residential, commercial buildings, other infrastructure and horticulture. Spaces of peri-urban areas outside city limits become sites from which groundwater is pumped and transported to city. What is actually urbanization? Transforming the land use from agriculture and forestry into industry, residence, commercial building, other infrastructure and horticulture. This is the main reason wherever the catchment area is getting occupied and constructing a residential and commercial building. Due to that, major disasters also occurring in the urban areas. Spaces of peri-urban areas outside city limits become sites from which groundwater is pumped and transported to the city. New industrial zones are developed. Urban waste is dumped. Vegetables and other high value crops are grown for nearby urban centers. Land use change is a process by which human activities transfer the natural landscape. It affects social properties. Depending on the intensity and type of use, soil may be modified in its physical properties, structure, consistency and density. Example, chemical. Example, cation exchange capacity, pH, soil sanity, etc. Bacteria and fungi population decline, chemical contamination, deforestation caused by an increase in land farming areas or soil sealing for urban areas and infrastructure. Effects on climate change. Why I am just reading, these are all things which have been explained in the first unit only. These are all like a case study only. Okay. Effects on climate change. Changes in soil property. Disruption of soil functions. Construction of roads. Converting agricultural land for housing and industry. Filling of ponds and building housing complexes on lakes, lake beds, etc. Impact socio-ecosystem services. Remedies: protecting water bodies, conserving groundwater, reducing our ecological footprint, and living in more compact communities are good ways to address both climate change mitigation and adaptation. Reducing greenhouse gases, require more research to provide guidance to policymakers. Conversion of farmland and forest to urban development reduces land available for food and timber production. soil erosion, salination, desertification and other soil degradation associated with intensive agriculture and deforestation, reduce the quality of land resources and future agriculture productivity. Urbanization presents many challenges for farmers. Conflicts with non-farm neighbors and vandalism such as destruction of crops and damage to the farm equipments. Neighboring farmers often cooperate in production activities including equipment sharing, land renting, custom work and irrigation system development. These benefits will disappear when neighboring farms are converted to development. So what is actually urbanization presents many challenges for conflicts with non-farm neighboring, and neighboring farmers often cooperate in production activities including equipment share. Like in Hyderabad, we does not see the farming around us because the most of the area has been occupied and that has used for the residential or commercial purpose. So that is due to that we are not able to see this one. Farming activities. These benefits will disappear when neighboring farms are converted to development. Urbanization cause a lack of confidence in stability and long run profitability of farming, leading to a reduction in investment in new technology or a machinery or idling of farmland. Remedies. Land use planning and regulation required. Land use planning protects farmlands, forest, water quality, open space and wildlife habitats, and at the same time increases property value and human will ensure the long-term quality of the land for human use, the prevention or resolution of social conflicts related to land use and the conservation of ecosystem of high biodiversity value. Uncontrolled development will destroy the natural environment and long-term economic growth. Forest provides many ecosystem services, supports biodiversity, providing critical habitats for wildlife, remove carbon dioxide from the atmosphere, causes precipitation, slow down surface runoff and reduce soil erosion and flooding. These important ecosystem services will reduce or destroy when forests are converted to agricultural or urban development. Next one is the environmental impact. This environmental impact we will study in our next lecture. So I request everyone to kindly refer the notes I will be sharing and kindly refer the videos for the assignments which I have given and the slides for that which I have noted important, the slides which I have noted as important. So kindly watch the videos, and I already discussed that the floods and the case studies. Recently I have studied about this one. Recently I have told Cyclone Katrina, this one in where we have studied about Myanmar and Hai, that this both disasters. I just want a brief study on that. Kindly prepare it. Assignments based upon the assignments which you have submitted in a given time. I will be giving the deadline. So kindly get it and If whenever you get it to me, I'll allot you the marks, whichever the 10 marks other than your internal marks. So this is all for today. Thank you.